It's been almost 20 years, and Pawn Stars has continued to draw viewers in with its simple and familiar way of showing history. The show has given millions of fans fun and excitement by focusing on everyday events and people. As a co-founder of the show and pawn shop, Rick Harrison has spent most of his life working hard to grow the business. However, despite his professional success, Rick's personal life has had its ups and downs, including a long legal battle that threatened to tear his family apart. Now we look at some shocking new information about Rick and what it means for all the years he has worked so hard. Rick's full name is Richard Kelvin Harrison, and he was born on March 22, 1965, to Richard the Old Man Benjamin Harrison and Joanne Rue Harrison. He was the third child in a family of four, which also included his siblings Sher Joseph and Chris. The Harrison family lived in Lexington, North Carolina, except for their father Richard, who once said that he wasn't home as much as he would have liked while his kids were growing up because he was in the U.S. Navy. His absence may have been hard on the family, but it was necessary because Rick's sister Sher was born with Down syndrome and their dad had to stay in the military to pay for her medical bills. Sherry died when she was only 6 years old. This terrible event broke their dad's heart, he said. Sherry was the light of my life for the short time we had her. Rick was only one when Sherry died and hadn't even had a chance to become close to her if he had. The tragedy would have been too much for him to handle by the time he was 2. The family moved because his father had to move to San Diego, California. Growing up with the memory of a beloved sibling who had died was very hard for young Rick, especially since he knew how much it affected his parents. But when he started having seizures at age 8, he quickly became the center of attention for his parents, and they would read to him while he was in bed. He loved reading adventure stories and was also very interested in physics and history, especially the Royal Navy in the late 1700s and early 1800s. When he was old enough to go to school, he went to Taft Middle School, which is part of the San Diego Unified School District. Rick became a hustler because he was interested in making money and dropped out of high school to focus on his business selling fake Gucci bags, which made him $2,000 a week. The Harrison family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, in April 1981 after Rick's parents' real estate business failed. Rick's dad then opened a. Rick, who was 17 at the time, opened a 300-foot used gold and silver coin shop on Las Vegas Boulevard South. Everything was going well until he got his girlfriend Kim pregnant. That's when Rick's first tragedy happened. The pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. Rick had lost his first child and Kim had felt the same pain. But instead of driving them apart, it brought them closer, and the young couple married. They got married and had their first child, Corey, in 1982. 2 years later, they had their second child, Adam. However, soon after Adam was born, Rick and Kim broke up, and Rick was in a bad place for a while before he met Kim. What really happened? Rick met Tracy, his second wife, on a secret double date 9 months after splitting up with Kim. They dated for 6 months, moved in together, and got married 8 months after that, taking on the financial responsibility of raising Corey and Adam. By the time Rick was 23, he had saved enough money to become a partner in his father's business. As we talked about Rick's growing interest in physics and history, which he used to help his dad's business in many ways. Give each coin a historical background that gives it personality and makes it more valuable to customers. While working with his dad, Rick also repossessed cars every night, but as their business grew, he quit the night job and focused on his day job. 5 years later, the family moved to a bigger house. They had a store on Fremont Street for 2 years, but they had to move again after 2 years because they lost their lease. Rick and his dad then decided to turn the store into a pawn shop. He said they saw it as the next logical step, but they couldn't do it right away because of a law in Las Vegas that limited the number of pawn licenses based on the city's population. By the 1980s, the city's population. Rick and his dad talked to the city statistician once a week so they could apply for a rare and highly sought-after pawn license as soon as the population hit 250,000 in 1989. When the population reached that milestone, the Harrisons still had to deal with some legal issues. They had to go through a lot of trouble to get their pawn license that same year. That same year, they opened the gold and silver pawn shop at 713 Las Vegas Boulevard South, which is less than 2 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. At first, the father and son focused on selling rare sports memorabilia and historical items, but jewelry quickly became their best-selling item as their business grew. Became well known in Las Vegas by 2005, when they were lending millions of dollars each year and making hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. The next year, the store became known for selling rare sports items with interesting histories, like Brock Williams' 2001 Super Bowl ring. They also helped gamblers who needed money for gas to get home. Their success and popularity caught the attention of the History Channel, which made a documentary about them. Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines from Left Field Pictures came up with the idea for Pawn Stars while they were traveling in Las Vegas in 2008. They were drawn to the interesting pawn shops and thought that each one could have its own unique characters, so they looked for a family-owned store to use in the show and eventually found the gold and silver pawn shop Les. The shop is less than 2 miles from the Las Vegas Strip and has more than 10,000 items for sale. The shop was featured in a PBS documentary in 2001, and Rick, the manager and part owner, had long wanted a show about his business. When Brent and Colby first pitched the idea of Pawn Star to HBO, it wasn't approved because they didn't like the original idea, but they did let it be developed. The show was first called Pawning History, but it was later changed to Pawn Stars to better reflect its content. The name is a play on words with porn stars, and during filming, the store would be closed to the public, and only a few approved customers would be allowed inside. The Harrison family became very popular because of the show, and many people who watched it left positive reviews. People gave the show good reviews and wanted more episodes, which helped it grow and keep coming back every year. In January 2011, Pawn Stars was the most popular show on the History Channel and the second most popular reality show, after Jersey Shore. On June 7, 2011, Rick published his autobiography, License to Pawn Deals, Steals and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which went to number 22 on the New York Times bestseller list by June 26, 2011. This year was bittersweet for Rick, though, because he also divorced Tracy, his second wife. Surprisingly, Rick Harrison, who had been divorced twice, announced his engagement to Deanna Barrett the year before. Deanna had also been divorced before. Career-wise, Rick was happy with the success of the show and his growing popularity with fans. In an episode of iCarly called I Lost My Head in Vegas, Chumley played themselves. 4 days later, Rick played an antique store owner in an episode of another show called The Middle. Around this time, he married Deanna Barrett in Laguna Beach, California, and had 3 stepdaughters, Serena, Kiana, and... In January 2014, Marissa Rick became the face of the Microtouch One razor, a men's shaving product, and starred in a TV commercial for it. A few months later, the History Channel premiered United Stuff of America, a show produced by the same people who made Pawn Stars. The show featured important artifacts from important historical events. In July 2014, the History Channel debuted the game show Pornography, with Rick, Corey, and Chumley competing against contestants from winning cash and items from the gold and silver pawn shop's inventory. Even though Rick was successful and things were going well, he lost his dad, Richard, who was known as the Old Man on Pawn Stars. In June 2018, Rick told his 45,000 followers about his father's death. Parkinson's disease was the cause of death, according to Instagram followers. A family representative confirmed Richard's death and shared the same statement that Rick had posted on Instagram. Rick shared a close-up photo of his 77-year-old dad wearing a black suit, glasses, and a fedora, and wrote a heartfelt tribute to the man who had helped him run the family business. Richard Benjamin Harrison passed away this morning surrounded by his loved ones. He will be deeply missed by our family. The History Channel, Gold and Silver Pawn, and many of the old man's fans around the world were all very saddened by his death. We are deeply saddened by the passing of our friend Richard the Old Man Harrison, a cherished member of the History and Pawn Stars family. We will miss his wisdom and honesty. Our thoughts are with the Harrison family during this difficult time, the statement said. At the same time, Rick talked about how much his father meant to him. He was my hero, and I was lucky to have such a father. A cool old man is my dad, and I'm glad I got to share him with so many people who could see what a great family man he was. He also said that he had a full life and that through Pawn Stars, he taught people all over the world the value of family, hard work, and humor. He asked for privacy during this time and posted a second picture of his dad as a young man. In a Navy uniform, writing, "Today I lost a friend, a father, a teacher, and so much more." The old man lost his long battle with Parkinson's this morning. Love you, Dad. See you on the other side. Rick and the Harrison family were very sad about the death of their father. Rick was left to care for his family and run the shop by himself, which was about to go through a tough time. The COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2019, causing Rick a lot of problems and having a big effect on his business. With so many people having money problems during the pandemic, it might have seemed like pawn shops would be doing very well after all. They are a popular way to get cash quickly when times are tough, but this wasn't the case for many shops. While business picked up at the start of the pandemic, it quickly dropped off. In an interview with Fox News, Rick talked about how the COVID-19 had messed up the pawn shop business, making it hard for the industry to get back to normal. Focused on daily tasks, going to a pawn shop wasn't a priority anymore. To make matters worse, he had to close his shop in March 2020 because of a high number of cases. The tourist side of the business was shut down for 30 days, but the financial services kept going. Rick was determined to support his. He stressed that he and everyone else on the team at the famous Gold and Silver Pawn Shop were ready to work even harder. In an April 2020 interview with a local Las Vegas news station, he said, "We lowered interest rates on items and gave people more time to get their things back. I've lived in this town for a long time. It's given me a lot, and I always try to give back." In that interview, Rick was optimistic and said he thought the economy would get better in about 6 months. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. As reported by the Daily Mail in 2020, the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which usually makes over $1 million a year, only made $337.46. In addition to the problems caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, Rick was also going through a divorce from his third wife, whom he married in September 2020. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, Rick and Dean had grown apart to the point where they could no longer stay married. In the filing, Rick said that his and Dean's tastes, opinions, and preferences have become so different that they can't get along in marriage. TMZ also said that the divorce may not have been noticed by the. Rick told TMZ, "I got 3 great daughters out of it," referring to Diana's children from her previous marriage. He also said that the marriage didn't work out and that both parties agreed to the divorce. He added that he has moved on, but recent Instagram posts of him with his stepdaughters show that he still thinks of them as his own. In an August interview, in his seventh post, he wrote about father-daughter day off-roading, showing how close they were. He has written similar things about several of his stepdaughters, which is a positive aspect of the situation. Despite the problems, Rick got through it all with the help of his son Corey. A year later, he married his fourth wife Amanda Palmer, hoping to build a better life with her. Talking about family, things had gotten worse because in February 2022, he was in trouble with the law because of his mother Joanne Rue. USA Today, Rick's mom sued him over family assets and ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop. The civil lawsuit was filed in Nevada State Court and names Rick, the gold and silver pawn shop, Harrison Properties, Jorick Properties, and several others as defendants. The lawsuit says that disagreements over money had a big effect on their relationship. In her complaint, Joanne said that Rick had broken a contract. She said that she had been married to his father for almost 60 years, and that's why she got Richard's 49% share of the pawn shop when he died in 2018. However, she said that Rick had her, signing over her 51% share of the pawn shop to him without fully understanding what she was doing made Rick look bad, because fans of the story had always seen him as a family-oriented person who wouldn't betray his family for money. But it looked like he had done just that with his own mother, who said she hadn't received the right paperwork. She told the judge that Richard had over $500,000 in cash and silver before he died. She also said that Rick had stopped sending her payments from her late husband, who used to send her regular payments of $225,000. She wanted the courts to reinstate that allowance. According to an article, Rick's mom was over 80 years old and had many health problems that needed care around the clock. It could cost up to $155,000 a month, but Joanne got a temporary restraining order against her son Rick to stop him from selling any family assets. The order also said that Rick couldn't move or hide cash assets or do anything else that could hurt her share of the family business. Finally, it said that Rick had to give up control of her property through a constructive trust. Fans were worried that Rick's wealth was at risk because of the case. In an interview later, Rick said, "The accusations are false, and I believe my 81-year-old mother is being influenced by others for their own benefit." He also said that he only learned about the restraining order request from the news. "I've tried to contact her many times over the last few months but haven't been able to reach her, and one of the companies she is suing is fully owned by my mother." The battle went on until 2024, which was also the year Rick's worst tragedy occurred. He lost his son Adam to an overdose of fentanyl and methamphetamine. Adam was 39 years old. A public information officer in Clark County, Nevada, confirmed that Adam had died from an overdose of fentanyl and methamphetamine. The Clark County Office of the Medical Examiner classified Adams. Another resident noticed that he hadn't been there since January 17th, and the landlord eventually found him unresponsive, which led to a call to the police. On January 19th, Rick posted a photo of himself and Adam at a restaurant on Instagram with the heartbreaking message, "You'll always be in my heart. I love you, Adam," along with a. Adam reportedly died of a fentanyl overdose on January 26th. His family spokesperson, Laura Hervich, said, "We are deeply saddened by Adam's passing. Please respect our privacy as we mourn his loss." Rick also spoke out about the situation in a statement, stressing that the fentanyl crisis in this country needs to be taken more seriously. After Rick's emotional Instagram tribute to Adam, many people sent their condolences, including Donald Trump Jr. Adam Harrison's older brother Corey also posted a picture of the two of them as kids on Instagram and wrote, I'll Always Love You Bubba. Adam Harrison wasn't on Pawn Stars, but he did work at Gold and Silver Pawn before becoming a plumber. Corey had also worked as a plumber before becoming an actor. Explained that Adam didn't seem interested in being on the show. Despite all the problems and sadness in his life, Rick stays positive and hides his pain behind work. Aside from work, Rick started getting involved in politics in 2020 when he backed Donald Trump for president and Daniel Rodimer for Nevada's 3rd Congressional District, and he even thought about running for governor of Nevada in 2022. Rick said, "Many people in the party have talked to me about it, and I always think about it. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm keeping my options open." In November 2023, he reached another milestone by becoming a Kentucky colonel. This honor during an episode of the Pawn Stars spin-off that was partly filmed at Locust Grove. The title of Kentucky Colonel is the highest honor given by the governor of Kentucky. In love, things seem to be getting better for him too. He is currently dating Las Vegas nurse Angie Pushkin, as confirmed by his representative in a statement. "Angie and I met 6 months ago, and she is a nurse in Las Vegas," Rick said. "Vegas, we've been in Europe for the past 2 weeks celebrating her birthday." He also recently posted several photos of the two of them dressed up for an elegant night out in Paris, which gave fans a look into their relationship. Angie is not the mother of Rick's children and is a lot younger than him. Some commenters on Rick's post of the Eiffel Tower questioned their relationship, saying he was dating too young and even called his educated and stylish partner a gold digger. Asked, "Does she make your money?" Rick's ability to read people and assess situations came into play here. He didn't let himself be baited and instead did a lot of other fun things with his new girlfriend. They went to an Adele concert in Las Vegas, met former president and current Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, and saw some sights in London and celebrated Pushkin's birthday a little more in June 2024, even though he had legal problems, business setbacks, personal tragedies, and failed marriages. It will take him some time to heal from the death of his son Adam, but his fans are hopeful that he will get better. He no longer works full-time at the pawn shop and is now starring in Season 2 of Pawn Stars Do America. Rick is enjoying his semi-retirement by spending time with his lover and family.